Every alpha male guru follows the same pattern. They start by telling men to toughen up, get your lives together. But as soon as they get bigger and popular, things start to change. Suddenly, they're trying to sell you a $5,000 course on how to be a man. But why do these gurus blow up? What is it that makes so many men stop and listen? And how can you spot the moment an alpha becomes a scammer? I'm hoping that this video will teach you more about yourself than any psychologist. So here's the first thing you need to know.
You're not comprehending that you are really looking at a real live king. So you cannot break me. I will break you.
These guys know exactly what they're doing. They tap into something deep, something a lot of men feel but don't say out loud. They're tired of dealing with so much bullshit. Being a man in the 21st century is a challenge. We live in a society that expects too much from us, but gives us so little in return. And it's because of this that many people feel lost on a professional, social, and even romantic level. Think about how much the world has changed in the last few years. Your father or even your grandfather didn't have to learn how to date on social media or wonder why somebody left them on red. They probably just put on a good suit, good cologne, and asked the girl out. And if she turned them down, they just moved on to the next one. But now, things are just so much different. Women have tens or even hundreds of thousands of followers on social media. To grab a woman's attention now, you have to compete with far more men than before. But let's say you're good, right? You're a good catch, right? Still, there's a great chance your message is gonna get lost amongst hundreds of other DMs and date invitations. This makes any man feel lonelier than any other time in history. Sadly, dealing with that bullshit can just wreck anyone's self-esteem. It's funny how social media, which promised to foster human interaction, has destroyed it. Because, I always see it when I go out with my friends to dinner. People are just glued to their phones, even during a date. So it makes me wonder, where are we gonna be in the next 5-10 years? The economic struggles of modern men. The next problem men face, and the reason why these gurus are so successful, is a lot of financial struggle. As I mentioned earlier, men have a lot of competition, but they can stand out through financial success. I've heard women say that they wouldn't date a guy that doesn't have a car, a house, or their life together. However, the current economy has made it harder than ever to become a homeowner.
How much money should a guy make per year?
At least like 300,000.
300,000?
Yeah. If I'm making 100 grand, you should be making at least twice that.
How do you make that money?
I sell my underwear.
You do what?
Sell my underwear.
Because of this, that there's a whole horde of men desperately wanting to make more money and start a family at any cost. And that's exactly when the alpha males come in. Think about it. Why does somebody like Wes Watson, a guy who just screams at the camera like your abusive stepfather, just get millions of views? Or even somebody like Andrew Tate, why does he have so many followers? It's because they sell certainty. These guys show up and say, here's the formula to get what you want. Just do this and you'll be successful. And that's why they always get our attention. We can't stop watching them. It's like a guilty pleasure. I personally love Andrew Tate, and I used to like Wes Watson. The psychology of men and why we relate to alpha content. We don't talk about our problems with our friends or family. We just sit there and suffer in silence. Some guys are ashamed to cry and pour their heart out. So what do they do instead? They go to YouTube and secretly search for ways to look attractive. This is what leads them straight into alpha male content. This kind of content is addictive since it uses language anyone can understand. If you're out of shape, they'll stand up and tell you, stop fucking complaining and hit the gym. And you know what? Sometimes that's everything that somebody needs to hear to change their life. So this got me thinking about other areas where men tend to slack off or feel unhappy, and how some gurus exploit these struggles to empty your wallet. But we're gonna get there in a second. Why Andrew Tate is so popular. Look, like it or not, a lot of men admire Andrew Tate's lifestyle. I do. You might not like the guy, but let's be honest. If you could snap your fingers and have his wealth, influence, you probably wouldn't say no. And that's part of why he's so controversial. People either love him or hate him. But the ones who hate him have one thing in common. They wish they had what he has. However, if they admit that the guy is better than them, they have to admit they can't compete with him. And that's why they try to bring him down, to make themselves feel better. And I get it. It fucking sucks, but it's the reality. Because he's done the hard work necessary to get to where he is. He's not the son of the Queen of England or doesn't come from a rich family. You know, he's a smart guy, he's hardworking, and now he's just reaping the benefits of the hard work. I'm not saying I approve with everything Andrew Tate says or him and his brother have done, but I can understand why so many young men look up to them. We like what these alpha males have to say because they dare to speak what we think. They're like that voice in our consciousness that we try to silence to fit into society. We all want a loyal woman, and nobody's really into a girl who's been with a ton of guys. And that's just facts. But the second you say this out loud, you risk getting clowned or canceled. You know, the thing is, these guys don't care what anybody thinks. They just say what they think and what they want, and I think that's kind of respectable. Think about all the times you just nodded along, you know, with your girl just to avoid an argument. If we actually said half of what we think, we'd either be in jail, a psych ward, or living under a bridge. Why these gurus don't care about you. The problem is, most of these so-called gurus don't really care about your life. To be honest, they just want your money. That's why you gotta learn to differentiate between real alpha males and straight up scammers. Look at Joe Rogan, for example. He comes across as chill, masculine guy who talks about all sorts of interesting things, and he just minds his own business. He's the kind of guy you should have as a role model instead of some 20-year-old claiming that he makes $100,000 a day with YouTube automation. You have to be a fucking retard to buy into that.
Nobody's gonna spend 10,000 with you if you don't look like you can drop 10,000. Nobody's gonna spend 2,000 with you if you don't look like you could drop 2,000.
I love red pill content. I really do. I just had Richard Cooper on my podcast the other day. And I think content like The Entrepreneurs in Cars or books like The Unplugged Alpha are needed now more than ever. But the manosphere has become a watered version of what it used to be. A lot of these guys, once they blow up, something shifts. It stops being about becoming a better man and turns into like, give me your cash. You know, like think about Fresh and Fit, for example. They started out as a podcast about dating advice, and now they're pushing $700 courses on how to DM women. You know, you look at Wes Watson charging thousands of dollars for fitness programs he just probably got from Google or bodybuilding.com. Like these gurus have built their fortune by promising to teach others their secret to make money. But there's no such a thing as that. Their real secret is telling you they have a secret, so you pay them. I'm not saying that all of these people selling courses are scammers. Some of these courses actually work, and these communities are great. But you gotta learn how to tell the good from the bad so you don't get ripped off. Why buying a course won't make you a man? Let's say you want to learn how to design a website. The cheapest way would just be to sit down and make one, you know, learn as you do it. But the fastest way would be to pay a web designer to teach you. This could speed up your process and help you avoid making dumb mistakes. However, when it comes to being a man, nobody can really teach you that because it's something that you have to learn on your own. Some people go their entire lives without truly knowing themselves. It's a long, painful, and lonely process, but it's worth going through. The key word here is lonely. If you don't have the discipline to follow this path, you'll end up straying. And that's why course sellers are so successful. They know exactly where to hit you. Unfortunately, I've learned the hard way that discipline is not something you can just teach others. I mean, I could tell you to do 100 sit-ups a day and you'll probably listen for a day or 2 days. But by day 3, you're gonna quit if it's not something you actually cared about. That's the harsh reality. So if there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, is this: nobody can change you. The only person that has the power is you. Now, since I'm growing my channel and I want to have a good reputation and I care about you, I want to share some red flags to help you spot an alpha male just trying to scam you. The biggest red flag is they start flexing more than teaching. The second, their message shifts from self-improvement to look at my Rolls Royce and my Bugatti. You know, they stopped teaching and they started selling. They pushed overpriced courses and exclusive communities. They'll tell you their secret is just $3,000. You know, they create a fake urgency. If you hear them say, it's only 3 spots left, start running. They attack anyone who questions them. If they can handle criticism, you're taking advice from a toddler. They also promise overnight success. This is one of the biggest red flags ever. If somebody says, just follow my method and you're gonna get rich instantly, don't buy into it. Fortunately, there are real mentors out there who will teach you without robbing you. You just have to find them. The key is to look for people who show their work instead of their wealth. You need to find mentors who focus on you instead of flexing. There's nothing wrong with wanting to improve as a man, but the second someone tells you the only way to do this is to give me your money, run as fast as you can. This is Chris, Bad Hombres TV. I'll see you next time.